For this layout, now this layout is based around sequential photos. So when you have lots of photos that tell one story, and for this one I'm using photos from a day trip to Sovereign Hill with our daughter, and I have, I think, 20 of them, so I'm going to try to get them down to about 18 roughly, or thereabouts, of the demonstration of the gold pouring session. So because I wanted to fit lots of photos, I have trimmed them down. So I've got them 4 inches wide by 3 3/4 inches deep. And then there's a couple of full photos that will fit onto the page. But I'm going to do it as a double, but I'm just going to basically show you how to create one side. But to do your double, you will need the 6 by 12 peekaboo pockets. You will need a couple of fancy borders. Now you can choose to punch your own, or I've chosen the laser cuts out of the Welcome Home pack. A couple of sheets of cardstock to match your photos if you choose to do that. I've chosen the Wild Oats. Then as a decorative paper, I've chosen the couple of sheets out of the Art Nouveau, because I think they work perfectly for that era and for being Sovereign Hill, so it's the right pack. Some cardstock, and you'll need, I think, only 1 sheet, but we may need 2. So I've chosen the gold shimmer out of the new pack they had from the latest buffet, cardstock buffet. And my base pages are going to be using 2 sheets out of the Happy Camper pack. But the other thing you will need to be mindful of, if you can choose to either, when we're sticking down the peekaboo pocket, you can either choose to stick it to your page protector, or for myself, I'm going to stick it to the base page. So mine will be stuck to this, and then we're going to go ahead and cut the page protector around it. So that's something you just need to be mindful of. I've chosen some beautiful, gorgeous little embellishments out of our titles pack number 4. Some Welcome Home embellishments that I think will fit really well. These little gorgeous gemstone-y things. And the other important things you'll need besides adhesives, besides the peekaboo pockets, is your 12-inch trimmer, in particular with your scoring blade. So they're going to be your most important tools for this layout. So I have gone through to begin with, and I've numbered my photos in order. So that may help you. And the idea is we're going to create, one of the pockets what I've done is we're going to create a pocket that will sit on the base page here, sit to either the left or the right of your page. So if it's a left hand side page, it'll fit to the far left, and if it's a right, it'll fit the other side. I will have 3 photos that side, 3 photos on the reverse, 3 photos down the strip there, and then also a couple of photos or embellishments. So you're going to fit lots of photos in this layout. So let's go ahead and show you how to start creating your sections that your photos are going to adhere to inside your pocket. Okay, so at the next, now I've shown you all the bits that are going to go into this layout. We're just going to create, I'm going to show you how to create one side of your page, and then you can go back and create the other ones. So with, I'll just put these pieces to one side. There's the bits to finish off the whole page. So with your cardstock and your 12-inch trimmer, you will need to cut your paper, your cardstock or your paper. I've chosen this new gold one because it is revolved, the topic is revolved around smeltering gold, but also it's a thinner texture, so it won't create too many thick layers. So you'll end up with 2 6x6 pieces, and they will do both sides of your layout. That's all you need. Then we're going to change our blade over to our scoring blade. Oh, let me get it out. Should have had it out before. They're never ever going to fall out of the back of this. They're so tight, which is good. You'll never lose them. Now, if you score it at 4.5, thereabouts, because I think I've cut my photos. It depends on how wide you cut your photos, and I want to mat mine, so I want to have a little bit of room to mat them as well. So if I do it at 4.5, it's going to allow enough matting room to mat my photos. I'll do the second one whilst I'm there for the second page. So then they're done. And pop that together later. And then you will need to also score your pocket page. Now, before you score it, you want to make sure that your open end is to the right and your closed end is to the left. So the closed end is going to line up with your 4.5 inch mark on your trimmer, because that's the section our photos are going to be in. And they're a little bit hard and tricky to see being clear. So just make sure you've got it all in the right spot before you do it. Run it over several times. You just want to create that score line, because what's on this side of it is going to be adhered to your either your page or your page protector. So you want to make sure that it's well and truly scored, because it's going to be sealed. Right, now the next part will be, so that will go in like that. Now I'm going to create a border for this side, and the photos are going to be on both sides. So I'll get 6 photos in total, and then there'll be 3 photos underneath, so 9 in total. So it'll fit a lot of sequence photos. So I haven't yet cut the mats. I should have probably gone ahead and done that for you. So I'll need to at least cut 6 mats now. And because I've cut them 4 inches wide, I think, by 3 3/4 deep. Just double check my measurements. So 4 inches wide by 3 3/4 is correct. I will do a 4 1/4 wide by 4 inches deep to cover that. So if you like, I'll just come back to you. I'm going to put a mat along here. I was going to make it 4 2/16, but I think I need to make it 4 1/4, because otherwise you are not going to see enough on the left and right side of the photo. So I think we'll recut that. I have extra paper, so that'll be fine. I didn't think about that in advance. I still will get my little gold edge, which is what I want. And you will see the gold edge on this side. So we'll go ahead and adhere that. We'll need 2 of them, 1 for each side. And it's going to be slightly short, I think, because I didn't think about that, but that should be all right. It'll be on the underside. So just using some repositionable tape runner, you want to adhere this to your strip. And then on the reverse side, which I might even just use the green on the reverse side, I think. And now, before we finish this off to go into the pocket and put the photos on, I wanted to create a bit of a border, and I thought I would use this along the edge. But I had a thought, as I was putting everything together, that I might attempt to use a vine to intertwine it. We'll see if it's going to work. It may be just a thought in my head that doesn't come together. So let's punch it out and see what happens. Or maybe I could use parts of it. I do have all the different vine punches, but I thought this one might be the easiest one to cut parts away. And I'm using a copper cardstock out of the cardstock buffet from, about 2 or 3 years ago. Oop, oop, oop. Line that up. I always have trouble with that last one, getting it lined up right. Right. We'll see if we can make this work. Get rid of our bits. And if it doesn't work, I can always use the strip left over and just keep it simple. That would work too. But I thought I might be able to use my scissors and cut away. You look at this. Work out which piece I would need to cut away. I think that center piece, we'll see if that works. I wanted to try to weave it. It may not work. It may be just an idea in my head that doesn't come together. That sometimes happens. If I get rid of that bit, we get this nice white weaving viney piece. Now let's have a look before I go any further. Is my idea going to work? I don't know whether it is. I think I could possibly make that work, but I might go ahead and finish it off and come back to you. Okay, I have done a few bits and pieces off camera before I come back to you. So I've added a strip at the back, which I have cut 4 1/4 inches, just over about 4 1/4 inches. I might be, sorry, 4.5 inches wide to allow for the photos. And I've also reduced the size of the photos. So, because I wanted to be able to see this pattern paper, otherwise there's kind of no point. So the actual mat is 4 inches wide by 3 3/4 deep. And the photo is 3 3/4 wide by 3.5 inches deep. So, and I've added the other side as well. So they're on both sides. Now, the other thing I did besides adding my border is I went back and had a look at our pocket, our 6x12 pocket. And the first one I did, I actually didn't fold it in the right spot. So I've redone a new pocket. So that's scored at 4.5 inches wide. I don't know whether you can see that. They're hard to see. 4.5 inches wide. And then I flipped it over and scored the other side at 4.5 inches wide, because it will give you a better fold line. And I think that was the problem I had in the first place. It'll help you fold it easier. The other two things I did to it was I scored a line at the 1/2 inch mark. Now make sure that your opening piece, your flat piece, is to the top before you score it, not to the bottom. So your stickiness will be on the top side. If I peeled away the tape, it would be on the top side. And I scored it at 1/2 inch, so that will fold under. And I also cut a couple of little angled pieces off the edge, because once the tape comes off, it's going to go into the pocket as so, but it's going to be at the back, so we're not going to see it. So let's go ahead, because I've finished doing everything I want to do to this, so it's ready to now go into my pocket. I'm not putting anything on this side, because that part of the pocket is going to be adhered to the side of the page, so there's no point in putting anything on it. I hope you understand that. That makes sense. So we slide that in, making sure that, like I say, you've got your opening, the wider pieces at the top, and then we're just going to slide that in. It's a bit tricky to get in, I found, so a bit of fiddling, because you've got a few layers happening. Catching at the back somewhere. Yes, it's catching on a photo, so be mindful of that too. Like sliding into a page protector, sometimes it's you catch and it's a bit tricky, and I've done the same on that side. Let's see. Right, let's see, I might have to trim a little bit off that by the looks of things. Oh, there we go. Just got to get it in there straight. So it's a little bit of wrestling with it till you get it right, it slid right into the pocket. So you could, if you don't want to wrestle with it, don't want it as tight as mine, you could trim a tiny little bit off the top and bottom. But I don't want it to move. Now, because you're going to seal this, make sure everything that you want stuck down is stuck down, because once it's in the pocket, it's not coming out. So that will go inside like that, and there will be my pocket ready to go on the side of my page. And then once it is adhered, so we'll get this fold all happening. Once it is adhered, I'm going to adhere another 3 photos from that side that will be covered. So that gives me 9 photos in that layout before I've even added any there. So I think we're pretty much all ready to go ahead. Now I think you've got 2 options to adhere this with. You can either use the brand new extra strong crafting tape runner if you got that, or photo tape. And I haven't actually gone ahead and tried it, so we might be a bit of trial and error on this video, but we'll find out. I have both, so we'll see which one is going to be the most effective. So we want to peel off the little film bit, and then, like an envelope, oh, that stuck to my fingers, we're going to stick that inside. So make sure you pull back everything properly so you can slide that under like an envelope. And this is why you need to score it 1/2 inch in, because you don't want it coming back on itself. You want it to be in the inside the pocket, so it creates a clean line. Make sure that's in properly and sealed. And that's now all sealed, ready to go. So now I'm just going to adhere that to the side of my paper. Like you could adhere, like I said earlier, you could adhere it if you want to put this straight onto a page. You could adhere that to the top of a page protector, but I'm going to cut my page protector around it by 1.5 inches on this side. So let's see how we go with this. It may be me going and finding my, whoop, not going to stick. No, we're not going to get that to stick. So let me go find my tape, and it might be a matter of the tape. So if you've got the photo tape, either the old version or the new version, this, and I haven't used it yet, so I've got to find the end. Oh, there we go. This should work effectively. I think the big key is to use plenty of it, because you want it to stick. So really, this is just a version of our, for anyone who did the old Creative Memories, of our fold-out page that we used to do back then. I think I'm almost going to do a third section in the middle, because I think it's going to need it. Because I haven't stuck down one of these pockets before, I'm a little unsure. Right, tons of tape. And let's peel it all off and see what happens. It is sticking to, make sure you burnish it in so it just sticks to your sleeve, your pocket. I hope you can see what I'm doing there. Oh, we're sticking on that side. My middle section does not want to stick. I've just got to get started. Oh, there we go. Okay, we've got 3 rows happening there. Now, I think at this point you need to you're not going to get a chance to lift it and move it. So I think you need to make sure it is exactly where you want it to go, because I think once it's down, it's down. So make sure you line it up properly and allow for that edge. Okay. And of course, once this is stuck to a page, and I may have to use a bit of the photo tape to stick this side of my paper to my page, it is going to hold it down. It won't bend up like it is now with the weight of it. Okay, well, that's created the pocket for that. Now, like I say, we're going to add another 3 photos. So that will give me 9 sequence photos already. So it's a great way of getting, and you know, this was a whole process of her melting and explaining, you know, the temperatures they did with the gold and what they did with it and what scientifically happened. Of course, when you go to these things, you never remember all those details, do you? So I have printed off some information I'll put onto a variety mat, some journaling to add to it. I don't know whether you caught my numbering system there, because I wanted to get them completely in order. So when I've matted it, I've added the number to it. So that keeps it all in order. And remember, I am going to do a second, I've got enough photos to do a second page. So my next page that I will do will be exactly the same, only this flap will open from that side. And of course, you know, if you wanted to do this to have 2 flaps opening at the front, I think you'd probably have to trim a little bit off the side of your pocket there, but you could have it as a single page and have them all open like that if you wanted to, and that would work well as well. You'd just have to put your page protector down before you added it, or cut around it, if that makes sense. So then I think we might, I've got 2 photos I haven't decided. I think we will mat one of them and add to here. And then I've got some, and I might add that to the next page. I've got some little embellishments that I might add. So maybe something like that. Maybe that, and then I can put a little bit of, I can use that as a title box maybe, and I might use that on the second page. So I might even mat that actually, so it doesn't blend into the background quite so much. So you kind of get the idea of how it goes. I'll finish putting the whole thing together and pop it onto some pages, and then I'll come back and show you how you cut your page protector if you wish to go in that direction. Okay, we'll come back soon. Okay, I've now gone ahead and everything is stuck down. I've finished adding my embellishments. I actually matted the jug thing here because it would have blended into my muted paper at the back here. And then added all my lettering and so forth because it's gold smeltering. Couple of embellishments, so that's all done. So the only thing left to do, I've stuck it to my page. Now I just use standard tape runner, but I put lots of it in spots down this side where it's got the extra heavy weight to open the page. So the last thing I would need to do now is to add my page protector. Now because this part is already protected, I'm going to cut my page protector. So if you've never done this before, you will need to make sure before you make it permanent, you add whatever you're adding to your other side of your page, because otherwise you'll never be able to get it off. So make sure you've popped on whatever you want to add to the other side of the page. If you're using a top loading or side loading pocket to do it, I would stick my my pocket to the outside of that rather than cutting the 12 by 12 side loading or top loading pocket. So then, but if you're using a standard page, you'll need to cut the page protector. So because this is roughly 1.5 inches from the side, what have we got? 1 3/4 inches is what you're looking at. So if I was to mark my page protector, take that away for a minute so you can just, because they're hard to see, with a photo labeling pencil at 1 3/4 inches from the edge and mark a line, then I would and hopefully you can understand what I'm doing. Cut to the 1 3/4 inch mark. Let me find a photo labelling pencil. I'm going to do this now for you. Just have to grab one. Okay, back with a photo labelling pencil. So if we mark it, so let me grab something so we can see it more than anything. Otherwise you're never going to see what I'm doing. Something to help it stand out a little bit better. So if we mark it with a photo labelling pencil, like I say, 1 3/4 inches from the edge, because I think that's what we worked it out. Double check that, because you want it to go to your score line. Yes, 1 3/4 inches should do nicely, because you could make it a little bit less because you want it to kind of tuck in underneath this, under the pocket there. So just make my little marks from the side so I can rule an edge. And you could probably actually even do this with a trimmer, possibly. We'll have a look at that option too, so you get it nice and straight. But you will need to cut away the part that you don't need. So there's my mark lines, and if I roughly rule it, and of course, because it's photo labelling pencil, you can rub it away with a tissue at the end. So that just gives me a mark line to go with. So now I take my micro tip scissors just from the end. Now we don't want to cut both sides off, because remember, the other side of your page protector is going to be a full page once you do the other side of your page. So you only want the part that's going to be on this side. So we just need to trim it away, bottom and top. Right, now I'm thinking, I'm wondering whether we can use our 12-inch trimmer. Change my blade over. Get rid of that, we don't need it now. Let's see if I can use the trimmer to cut it without cutting right through the whole thing. Is the tricky part. I think I'm going to end up using scissors here. I don't think I'm going to get this lucky, but you never know. Because you don't want to cut any of the back section, and you don't want to rip it either. Did I get lucky? Oh, I cut away the piece. Did I make that work? Yes, I did. There we go. I surprise myself sometimes. So you will need to rub that piece off. You can see the line. I'll get a tissue. Because otherwise that's going to mark your page. Rub away any of the black graphite away. And then you probably don't need to keep the piece that you cut away. You can use scissors if you're not confident to use your trimmer to do that. And when you slide your page protector over, you want the piece that you've cut away, you'll have to go from these cornered sides or slide it completely over the top. But the problem is you're not going to be able to open that then, so you'll have to go from this side, I think. So it's going to be a bit of a tricky thing. Because you just got to be gentle with it. You don't want to catch those side pieces on it that are, because otherwise it's just going to tear your page protector, which is what you want to avoid doing. Go with it very gently. Open out your pocket. I think I've torn just a tiniest little bit, and take it right to the end. Now that will sit underneath, and then you will have a page protector on. When you go to do the other side, you will need to use a tiny little bit of your photo tape in both corners to hold down that part of your page protector so it won't move, so it won't flap up. So, but all in all, that now works, and you have equivalent of what, 6, 9, 10 photos, which you probably wouldn't have been able to get on the page. So these pockets will help you do that. Thank you.